Welcome back to Oran Park in Sydney's West for Race 2, Round 2 of the 1995 Australian Super Touring Championship. It was a very wet and soggy Race 1 and the rain has stuck around in droves for Race 2. Hasn't dried up a little bit, in fact it's a lot darker, it's a lot wetter, the track's almost flooded, but we'll still take the starters' orders for 35 laps. Although it was dry in qualifying for Race 1, it had started raining by the time qualifying came around on Saturday afternoon for race number 2, and that's reflected in the grid with an all Audi front row. We're a long way back, in fact we're off the tail of the field after just not being able to get a handle in the wet during qualifying. Hopefully we can move forward in the race because it was a real struggle during qualifying. We of course crashed out of race number 1 while sitting in the points. Hopefully we can avoid that in race number 2 and get some points because we've only scored in the first race of the season after 2 crashes in a row at the second race on the Gold Coast and the first race here. So with that said, let's go to the grid and we'll see on pole position car number 18, Brad Jones, the Oryx Audi's first pole in Super Touring, and he's joined on the front row. As we said, it was raining, by Greg Murphy, an all Audi front row. 43.608 for Murphy, and you'll see in third place Graham Moore in the Opel Vectra, over 2 seconds slower in a 45-second lap. It just shows the advantage that the four-wheel drive cars have. A great effort from Moore though to get the privateer Vectra into third, and he's joined on row number 2 by Jeff Allen in the Ford Mondeo. Another great effort. He's getting to grips with the Australian tracks very quickly. Position 5, Paul Morris in the Diet Coke BMW. And he's joined on the third row by Stephen Richards, the series leader, car number 34. Position 7, Jeff Brabham, second of the Diet Coke BMWs, and alongside him, Charlie O'Brien in another BMW 318i. Position 9, Warwick Rooklin, another top 10 qualifying position for the new to Australia Peugeot, car number 96. He's joined on row 5 by Phil Ward in the Nokia Mercedes 190. From 11, Stephen Ellery in the Chelgrave BMW. He's joined by Ian Spurl, having his first start in the Peugeot 405 this weekend, finishing 11th in race number 1 of course. Position 13, a little ways back for Tony Scott in the Volvo 850. He'll be hoping to work his way forward. He's joined on row 7 by Steve Hardman in the first of the Hyundai Lantras. 15, Paul Nelson in the Faber-Castell BMW. Alongside him Justin Matthews in another of the M3s. Position 17, Mark Seymour in his BMW. Alongside him, Paul Pickett in the newer shape BMW. Position 19, Bob Tweedy in the Ford Sierra. While, as I said, we round out the field in 20th position. Just couldn't get a lap in qualifying, but it gives us a bit of a challenge off the back of the grid. We'll just have to try and stay out of trouble. So as we roll through the grid, leading up to the start, expect the Audis to walk away from the field again. Should be close for third. Hopefully we can work our way into the top 10. It'll be a long 35 laps again. Staying out of trouble will be the goal here. But let's go down to the grid, hop in the car, and we're under starters' orders. Fading light, bring the revs up, the red lights are on. We're away for race 2 on a dreary wet afternoon here at Oran Park in Sydney's West. Down to turn 1, we're going to get on the brakes early, we're at the back anyway. Paul Pickett just ahead of us. BMW, little nudge, make our way, can go on the outside down to Sutton's. Bob Tweedy ahead of us in the Sierra. Over the dog leg. Tweedy, Mark Seymour. I think we got past our teammate as well, Steve Hardman. We had a really bad run over the dog leg. So into lap 1. To 17th. hard to find where's the grip. Into turn 1. Given what happened at the end of race 1, I'll be very tentative through there early on in this race, I think. Like Seymour in the M3. Got inside. Around has gone Tony Scott. In the Volvo, he's having a real tough time today in the wet. We managed to get away with it. Someone else got caught up in it. Back onto the front straight. 2 laps down, 33 to go. There's Paul Nelson ahead of us in the Faber-Castell BMW. And then Warwick Rooklyn ahead of him. Around the back of the circuit. It's amazing how dark it's gotten. It's just past 4 PM here in Sydney's West. Oran Park, and it'll be much later at night. The inside of Paul Nelson. Bob Holden prepared. BMW M3. Down to turn 1. Brooklyn qualified in the top 10 in the wet conditions. Inside of Nelson, bang it across the curbs. We're ahead. So Warwick Rooklyn next up ahead in the Phoenix Peugeot. Dangers of going too deep into turn 1 there. Long apex there. Sutton's. Brooklyn in that Peugeot was in the commentary box in 1995 for most of the season, except this Oran Park round. Adderton in the 96 car for the rest of the season. Brooklyn did the commentary on the season with Darryl Eastlake for Channel 9 Australia. So easy to lock the fronts, especially the front wheel drive car. Nelson keeping up with us. Oh! Managed to save it somehow. Now we kept that off the wall. Thought we were going backwards into the final turn fence. Such a difficult day's racing. Do the races back to back. On the same day, although I release them on different days, the individual races, I do them as if they were done on the one day as they were in real life. breaks Audi. Can't see which one. Here comes the other one. We'll let him go. So Jones leads Murphy. But now Murphy leads Jones because Jones gets balked by Steve Hardman. Hardman to the pits. I think he just came out of the pits, so I hope we don't have the same little glitch that affected Phil Ward in the first heat. Any chance that is it. But as I was saying earlier, I do both the races on the same day. It also gives a proper feel of what it would have really been like at the time. As I said, release them separately. Maybe let me know in the comments if you prefer the races to be released separately, or would you like me to put them both in the same video, so you'd have a good 2 odd hours of content in one go from each round? Be a bit like watching the actual TV coverage on the day, I guess. No man's land again in this race. 7 seconds off Warwick Brooklyn. 3 seconds in front of 14th place, which I assume is still Paul Nelson. Rain has overshadowed the fact that this round was the first one in Australia that saw front air dams and rear wings allowed in the series, which of course came in for 1995 in the Super Touring. Qualifying is the only real representative we had, which of course was dry qualifying for race 1, which saw Stephen Richards get pole, so maybe the aerofoils didn't necessarily mean everything. So we're coming up on Jeff Allen, who's going very slow in the RPM Mondeo, and in fact we're passing him. Finished 3rd in race 1. He's come to the pits, so something's gone wrong there for the Ford. Back in the circuit again. Closing back up to Warwick Brooklyn. Lap 14. Lap 15 for the leaders. Approaching halfway. character building days in motor racing where you just got to try and get through them, get as many points as you can, move on to the next one. Next round for the series is Symonds Plains in Tasmania, which I'm really looking forward to. Great little track. Don't know if it'll suit the Hyundai because it struggle for speed at on the straights at the Gold Coast. Just giving Paul Morris a bit of room. Got Jeff Brabham behind us now. Brabham go. Made it harder than it needed to be, but we get in their way. Lost much time to Auckland because he let Morris go as well. Allen's come out of the pits. Leg. One's going up the inside of Allen. Allen from the pos height on there. He heads for the pits. Chance of getting Brooklyn, I think. Just no retention, no mistakes. Front straight. Right there with him. The Audis again. Ray Jones back ahead. There he goes, and Murphy follows through. Murphy, of course, didn't finish race one. He caused the trouble, and Rookland's off. Rookland off in the Peugeot. Promotes us to 11th. That was a big off too at the Dong leg. Presumably trying to let the leaders through. Scrabble around past halfway. BMW. The M3s. It's properly dark here now. The only night race for the season is supposed to be at Calder Park in a couple of rounds' time. problem with these wet races is it's going to be a thing that'll affect all the Super Touring racing we do until the 99 season. Is that it basically becomes a lay-down misère for the Audis. Oversteer. Just easy to do with the yellow flags out. Car off over the dogleg, I would assume. There's Graham Moore. So we've made a spot. We're into the top 10. Teammate in front of us, Steve Hardman. Heading for the pits. As for the leaders, come up on us. Stephen Richards, Charlie O'Brien in the New Zealand Works BMW. Very sideways, O'Brien. Sponsorless car. Needing sponsorship to finish the season. Hopefully you can get it. It's going to hurt Graham Moore in the Privateers Cup because that'll be 2 non-scores for the day. Stephen Richards, despite finishing down the order, he'll still take a stranglehold on the cup. Stephen Ellery, another privateer, is up behind us in the ex-Tony Longhurst BMW from the 94 series. Oh, Jeff Allen comes out of the pits. Right in front of all this. Ellery ladders into Allen's door. Looking up inside too. Just knowing what's going on, Allen will come to the pits. Around the first turn. Sneak a points finish here. Up on 2 wheels, don't want to hit the fence on the outside. And car ahead of us is in the pits. Only 3.5 seconds off. 9th place. Phil Ward in the Mercedes. And he's going to the pits, so obviously a few dramas going on here with some of the cars, so we're now up to 8th, which is great from the back of the grid. We're a lap behind the car in front of us, which probably means it's Steve Ellery. Through turn 1. So Bob Tweedy in the Sierra is next ahead of us, so we'll be putting a lap on him. The Audis are 2 laps up on us. Probably going to be 3 by the end of the race. Go over the dog leg. Inside of Tweedy. There's a run for our money down the straight. There's a car off there, looks like Paul Pickett did what we did, but he's in the fence at turn 1. I think we've got the 2 Audis around. Greg Murphy has taken the lead from Brad Jones. He's a long way clear at the moment. Let Jones go to chase down Murphy. There's Pickett's BMW. Almost joined him. Away from the Sierra here, which we should be. Over the dog leg. Over the main straight. Can't really see anything here. Certainly not a braking marker. Probably the last lap. We've been lapped 3 times by the Audis, and we're on lap 31. There might be one more actually. We're about to finish our 31st lap. Of course, we were running 8th in race 1 when we slipped off. Alum and Steve Hardman roll out of the pits. Each other. Come on, checkered flag is out. Hardman. Around the final corner, so we're going to finish with a points finish in race 2 off the back of the field, which we'll take, but a pretty dreary and sad afternoon. Not great motorsport from the 2 races, unfortunately, but hopefully interesting enough to watch along with and to at least see what happens. And we'll hope for some dry racing next time out at Symmons Plains in Tasmania. But let's now go and check the results of race 2 from round 2 of the 95 Australian Super Touring Championship here at a very wet Oran Park. And so ends a wet, soggy and muddy Sunday afternoon at Oran Park. The rain never let up all day and we were able to scrabble around and pick up a result. As you can see, Greg Murphy wins by just 2.8 seconds from Brad Jones in an Audi Quattro walkover. Paul Morris and Jeff Brabham in the Diet Coke BMWs a lap behind in 3rd and 4th. Stephen Richards, the first front-wheel drive car home, in 5th place ahead of Charlie O'Brien. 7th place was Steve Ellery. We were home in 8th, 3 laps off the lead, just in front of Warwick Rooklyn and Paul Nelson, while Tony Scott and Mark Seymour rounded out the top 12. And so after 4 races, a quarter of the way through the season really, Stephen Richards has a 6-point lead. 60 plays 54 over Greg Murphy. 3rd place Jeff Brabham. 4th Paul Morris. Brad Jones creeping his way up into 5th. And 6th place Charlie O'Brien in the New Zealand BMW. Equals 7th, Tony Scott and Steve Ellery on 14 points. Jeff Allen in 9th. Graham Moore 10th. We're 11th, just clear of Phil Ward in the Mercedes. The Privateers Cup looks like this after 4 races. Stephen Richards 26 points in front of Steve Ellery. Graham Moore, after non-scoring in both races, is back in 3rd. Mark Seymour 4th. Phil Ward 5th. While Paul Nelson and Justin Matthews are tied for 6th. And in the Manufacturers' Championship, BMW and Audi tied at the top on 116. It's really just between them. It's a long way back to Volvo and Hyundai. So that's where we leave round number 2. Everyone will dry themselves off. We're heading across Bass Strait to Tasmania and Symmons Plains for round number 3. Hoping for a few drier races down there, but you never know, especially with the Tasmanian weather. But either way, a dominating display from Audi in the wet, conditions tailor-made for them. We've gotten back on the scoreboard and hopefully we can carry that on into the future. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with round number 3. Bye for now.